Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Fat Dubs Movie Reviews. Ryan, Kelly, and Ryan went and saw Creed 3. So to start us off,
One, two, three.
I'm like, okay. Start us off, Ryan, why don't you give us a little backstory of the Creed series?
All right. So Creed series is the follow-up series after the Rocky series, and the 10 million Rocky movies that we have. Actually, there's 6 Rocky movies. So a little backstory: Rocky Balboa is about a story. It's a great sports underdog story. It's about a guy who got into boxing, loved it, and everything like that, and went through this whole journey of pretty much his whole career, becoming a heavyweight champion and everything like that. We moved to the Creed series, which is the son of Creed, um, Apollo Creed, excuse
Apollo
me,
Creed, yeah.
who was the first opponent, the first and second opponent. So Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, he was the opponent of Rocky, who became his trainer when he fought Mr. T.
Yep.
And he unfortunately died in a match against Ivan Drago
Ivan Drago.
in Rocky 4. By the way, Rockies 1 through 4, amazing. Rocky 5, terrible. Rocky 6, or Rocky Balboa, not great.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary. The Creed movies, though, we'll get to them. So Creed is pretty much the same thing. So it's about Adonis Creed, who is the son of Apollo Creed. He is following in his father's footsteps. He gets everyone's wishes and everything like that. They don't want him to be a fighter, and he ends up just that's what he wants to do. He wants to be a fighter. And the first match, or the first movie, he ends up losing to kind of someone that was in his gym and everything like that. The second movie was kind of a great callback. And he fought Ivan Drago's son. So there's a little history back there. Obviously, Ivan Drago being the one who killed his father Apollo in a match, and then having to face all those demons and everything like that. So that is the Creed series. If you have not checked them out, I would recommend it. A wonderful, wonderful series. Michael B. Jordan absolutely does a phenomenal job in those movies. He's a wonderful actor. Tessa Thompson as his love interest. I want to say her name is Bianca, but I'm probably wrong.
I
But
think you're right, actually.
I think it's Bianca. She does an amazing job. Each storyline's good. It's great. It's great homage to the Rocky series. And especially with having Rocky, Sylvester Stallone in the first 2 Rocky movies. He does a wonderful job. Great callback. I highly recommend the Creed series.
Okay. For me personally, guys, yes, I've seen all the Rocky movies, and I've only seen the first Creed movie. I've not seen the second or the new one yet. So I don't. Ryan can go ahead and spoil me here with these ones. So I guess I'm gonna start off by asking: is Rocky still alive?
It never has had.
It's all of a sudden he kind of like disappears and.
So a little back. So the reason why he was not said in the movie is because obviously there's a lot of turmoil between the guy who bought Rocky series and Sylvester Stallone. There's a lot of dispute between the two. So Rocky's character has kind of been written off.
Okay.
He was mentioned in context, but never was actually mentioned in person.
Okay.
Like, they never mentioned Rocky anymore, but they mentioned that Apollo took on a chance on an underdog kid from, wherever. So you can't say if Rocky's dead or not. They never hinted at his death. They never hinted at him being alive still.
Okay. Because that was always, of course, a major question from the first movie because he had the cancer. Was he going to be able to beat it or not? How long does he have to live?
Yeah.
And all that. Like I said, obviously not seen the second movie. Don't know if he's there or not. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that answers that. Has Adonis really grown in this third movie?
Yes, in a way. So obviously, everyone, if you're watching these reviews, it is a spoiler review. If you're not seen it, my bad. Y'all know what you came into.
It'll say right there in the title.
Spoiler. So it really has grown because and if you don't mind me saying this,
Go ahead.
so how it starts off is it starts off with a fight that Creed had with his first opponent, and we watched it. So the gentleman that he lost to, I can't remember his name.
The Irish guy, yeah.
So he ends up fighting him again, winning the title from him, and then it flashes forward for a few years, ahead. He has officially retired from boxing. He became more of a gym manager. He's also a fight promoter.
Really?
Yeah. So he's done fighting. He's living that.
Him and Bianca had a kid, right?
They did have a kid.
In the second one, right?
They did have a kid in the second one, yes.
Okay.
And so she's a little grown up. Actually, it was really cool because, she's actually deaf.
Yes.
So,
but she likes to sing. That's one of her passions, if I remember.
No, the daughter's actually full blown deaf.
Oh, the daughter's full blown.
Yeah, she's deaf.
Okay.
And it was really cool because it was kind of it was that different term, different thing, and they're doing sign language and everything like that. It was really cool.
Okay.
Really touching. So it really transitioned Creed to being that, showing him as a father, but showing him as more of a businessman. He was a fight promoter. He was setting up this next fight between his prized fighter that he had at his gym to actually Ivan Drago's son. So there's a lot of respect there. So they were setting up a big title fight and everything like that. So we see him more as a businessman and trying to, he was living a high life, but it wasn't like, he never had the urge to fight and everything like that. He was more like, this is my life. I'm business. I'm.
So pretty much he was done with boxing pretty much. He's like, I had my time.
Yep.
I moved on.
He was enjoying his life.
But now, I need to obviously continue. I still want to be part of it, but I'm going to do it in this way.
Yeah, so he's really grown. He's kind of grown into that more mature aspect.
Which, honestly, a lot of boxers do,
Yeah.
There's those things.
And athletes in general.
Yeah, athletes in general. They still like to be part of the sport that they grew up playing and loving. And
so it was cool to see that and everything like that. Obviously, it changes when you see Dame, which is his best friend, who plays by the same actor who plays Kane the Conqueror. Phenomenal fucking job in both movies, by the way. So then everything changes and everything like that. And then, that's me just spinning my phone.
I was just saying, you look like you started something there.
No, yeah, I just opened up the news section like that. I don't know if you want to ask the next question or anything like that, but
no, continue on. Like I said, just give us you kind of fill us in a little bit at 2, and now we're getting to 3 now.
Yeah, so he becomes more of a businessman living a high life, and then that kind of changes when his best friend Damien show up, where they've had a long past before and everything like that. Damien just got out of prison and everything like that from a crime that kind of happened between. That happened involving Udonis and him. They kind of go a little bit backstory of those two. They were sneaking out of the home to go do amateur fighting. Damien he's a little bit older and everything like that than Udonis. So Udonis was kind of his towel boy, his water boy and stuff like that, where he was fighting. The story is pretty much telling a story of someone living your dream. So Damien wanted to be the boxer.
So it sounds like it ended up Damien taking the fall. Creed ended up.
Well, yes and no.
Getting out of it.
Yes and no. So there was they kind of tell the story. So in their group home, so the situation that happened was, little backstory. Damien and him were in a group home growing up and like that, and there was the person living there, beat them.
Okay.
And kind of tormented them.
Okay.
So after one of the fights, Creed was going to a store. He sees him. He sees that guy. He jumps him because he's a little bit bigger now and everything like that. Jumps him, starts hitting him, and then his sons come in to start fighting him. Damien pulls a gun.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And you find out later on the whole story and like that. Creed runs away and doesn't get arrested. Damien gets arrested.
Okay.
But Damien also had a gun. So Damien wanted to be the boxer. Udonis kind of wanted to as well, but this was Damien's dream.
Right, he wanted to help his friend.
Yeah. He wanted to be a boxer. He wanted to be what Creed was. So the movie was definitely a movie telling the story of kind of the dark side of friendships.
Yeah.
The dark side of friendships, and
Pretty much two, guys that are not blood related but brothers.
they're brothers, and the unfortunate of sacrificing something and watching your brother live the life that you wanted,
right?
And then, so when Damien came out, Creed offered him like, "Do you need money? Do you need a place to stay?" Like, he was trying to help him that way. And he said, "Look, I just want to box," and so he invited him to his gym to be a sparring partner to the champion, and that didn't sit well with Damien. He's like, "No, I want a title shot." He started kind of manipulating and playing playing that friend card to Creed, which was kind of then changing him from like, "Fuck, man, I got to be this promoter, I got to be this businessman, but I also don't want to let my friend down," and he feels that guilt because of what happened in the past.
Right.
So there was a at one of Bianca's album releases, so she stopped singing, so she's producing. So this movie is more like the journey from actually being the singer and boxer to being more of the person.
I was actually going to bring that up. How does Bianca end up developing later?
Yeah, so they very similar to Creed.
So both of them had successful early on careers.
Yep, and then now are more of the behind the scenes
business
person.
Yeah, gone to the business side.
So they invited Damien to an album party, so releasing it to an artist and like that, and they had a quick moment where Creed was talking to his next two fighters, Drago and I can't remember the guy's. And I'm going to be really bad about it. I'm not going to say it because
it's all right.
So they were promoting the fight. Well, someone comes in and actually breaks Drago's hands and forces him out of the fights.
Really?
Yeah. So he comes in, starts bashing his hands. He gets pulled from the fight.
Damn.
So then they're talking about, well, we need a fighter. We need a fighter. Which you see a lot in boxing and MMA. You see... for example, John Jones is a very good example. He'll be set up for a title match, and then he'll get bashed for drug related issues. They have to find another fighter right then and there
because you already got the fight set up and and all that.
So they did the same thing, and Creed, making a bold selection, puts in Damien, and you start to see the true side of Damien. So he started fighting dirty. He was taking elbow shots, and taking kind of illegal hits and everything like that, which then kind of helped him move along. So if anyone knows in boxing, it's just gloves. So he was hitting with elbow, especially the point. So there was a lot of dirty play happening there.
All right.
And so Damien actually ends up winning and becoming world heavyweight champion. And you start to see that he was definitely using Creed.
Using Creed to help get back to that point, but then I'm assuming Creed notices this.
Yeah, so he notices it and confronts him, and then you just see a change. You see, Damien say, like, you jealous, you never would stand up to me. Like, you see the friendship just break. Okay. Because it's one of those things where it's just like, you use me. And there was also turmoil with Creed's mom because she hid all the letters from Damien that he wrote to Creed in prison. And Creed obviously took that as a insult because like, why would you do that? He's my friend, he's my brother, and his mom was doing it because she was trying to save him. So he started to get into gangs. He started to get into trouble.
Okay. All right.
You find out the person that broke Drago's hand was one of Damien's friends in prison.
I was just gonna say Damien probably hired somebody to do it.
Which as it kind of went along, before the reveal, you saw it coming.
Yeah, like Damien somehow was somehow gonna get his way.
Like it wasn't just like, oh, this random person showed up at a party and took out Drago. No, it was set up. And then unfortunately Creed's mom dies.
Really?
She dies of a stroke.
She had to go that way.
Yeah. It was very sad. It was very touching. And for me, it was very touching because I think about my father.
I wish she would have done her like natural causes.
She ended up dying. She she had the stroke, and there was a lot of organ failure and everything like that. And she was talking to Creed, but she was talking to Apollo.
Oh, she was seeing Apollo.
She was
with
seeing Apollo, but it was Udonis.
Yes, I see what you're
So
saying.
that
yeah.
made me sad because my dad had suffered a stroke, and I think about that all the time. I worry about the next one. I worry about that one because it could be the one.
Right.
And so that was a really touching scene, just in all in general. And then that's when Creed finally opens up to Bianca, letting you know what happens. Because this whole time that we're leading up to the mom's death and everything like that,
Right.
and what Damien did, it kind of really broke Udonis. And it's like he was very against it. He was very, standoffish against Bianca. Like, he didn't want to tell her. Like, being a man, men don't talk about feelings too much.
No, we don't.
And that was kind of the whole thing in the movie. And then after the mom died, he kind of opened up, and she, she made him realize that it's not his fault, and that they both came into just the conclusion that, you know what, if someone's got to stop Damien, it's got to be you. The only way you can do it is get in the ring.
Right.
And so it's kind of funny. He goes on First Take. We see my boy Stephen A. Smith, and they issue the fight right there because Damien calls First Take. They're bickering back and forth, and Damien's pretty much calling him a bitch, a pussy, and all that stuff. And Creed's like, "No, World Heavyweight Championship, you and I," and set it up and everything like that. We go through a whole training montage between the two. Really cool scene. We see Duke, who is the trainer from the first movie, from in his gym and everything like that. So it's good homage there.
Nice.
And so we get this whole training montage. Drago comes in. Drago's son comes in, and it becomes his sparring partner.
Is Dolph Lundgren in any of these movies?
No, Dolph Lundgren's in the second movie.
Okay.
So really cool.
I'm sorry, I wanted to know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the second movie, there's really cool moments because you see Rocky and Drago meet. You see them talk.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And you see like you understand like the rivalry between the two. Because again, I think when I think of Rocky's rivals, Apollo is obviously number one. Because you found him in 2 fucking movies. Yeah. But I actually say Ivan Drago is number 2 because I can't give it to Mr. T.
No. You can't really.
No. So, but I will give, it showed a really great rivalry between Drago and Balboa in number 2, and how much the loss to Balboa really affected him. Because again, he's from Russia. He's part of a country that were always so dominant.
He had such a huge chip on his shoulders for his country.
And that's the thing
and then you lose to this American that's smaller than you that you should easily beat.
Yep.
And didn't.
Yeah, and then became an outcast and really shut out of his country. Really turned on him and everything like that. And so it was really cool. So Drago's son comes in, becomes a sparring partner. Go through the whole training montage. The whole, Rocky.
We have to have a great training montage.
You gotta have a training montage.
That's tradition in those.
So then we get to the fight, and it was a great fight scene. The emotion was great, and there was one moment that was actually pretty cool. So it was a moment where they obviously didn't go round by round by round. They went the whole distance and everything like that. But actually, not. Actually, I'll tell you how it ends in a second. So there's a moment where it was just Creed and Damien, and everyone was blacked out and everything like that. So it's just those two fighting.
Okay.
So it was kind of a cool moment because again, that's just long time coming. It was just these guys just fighting it out. These are 2 friends fighting it out and all that stuff. And then I will admit, I will say this right now: Creed won by knockout. Knocked him out cold cut clean in the final round. And becomes World Heavyweight Champion again. And nice. Him and Damien have a moment in the locker room and kind of like a rekindle, but it wasn't like a full on one. It was kind of that like showing respect. And, Creed has a special moment with his family in the ring. His daughter wants to be a boxer. That's what she loves to do. So it's a great movie. And it kind of took away from the Rocky-esque, and it became more about, you know,
I figured that was going to happen eventually.
yeah. I mean, but that's the one thing about Creed 1 and Creed 2 is that it had that Rocky feel, which it was more Creed, but it had that Rocky feel.
Right.
This
right.
one was more of his own journey in life and everything like that.
Kind of his own standalone.
His own standalone.
Yep.
I liked Creed 3. I love Creed 1 and 2.
Okay.
I love Creed 1 and 2.
Okay. All right. There you guys have it. Do you think that's the way it should have ended?
Yes, I think that. Are you talking about how?
Like that whole final fight. That's how
Yes.
Adonis should have won that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then anything that happened after that.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it should have, because if Damien would have won, it would have been a pointless movie to have. It would have been an absolute pointless movie.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing was Creed realizing that Damien was not that good.
What I'm kind of getting at is like, I guess what I should say, instead of like how it should have ended, like that's what I'm saying is like, is that how it should end, or should have been, you know, where actually Damien comes out and he said, yeah, I even did all this dirty stuff, but I wanted to see how you really were in the ring. And
no, because the storytelling is better the way it is, because it was more of, it's a realization that you don't know people very well, even someone that you consider your brother, your best friend.
Right.
You don't know their intentions.
Exactly.
And so,
exactly.
You know, you never know who a real person is, and it made me angry throughout the movie, because I can tell where it was going from the get-go, knowing that Damien was going to use his best friend's popularity, his power,
money and
all that stuff. And he never wanted his money. He never wanted money. He just wanted his life, because he felt like that was the life that he was taking away from him.
Yeah.
But to me, it was kind of more like, okay, you're going about it all wrong, because instead of going the route, because like Creed said, I'll get you a step in the door, but you got to get your way in. And then Damien started, you know, using mentality, and it's like, I hate that. I hate when people do that, because it's one of those things where it's like, yes, someone can live the life that I wish I had.
Right.
But it's my fault for not getting there.
Right.
That's my own fault. I would love to play in the NFL, but I didn't do it. I didn't get to there. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody that's playing. No, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody that we played with in school.
I understand.
That played in the next level.
Yeah.
I was not there. And that's what made you love a movie like this, because you got to find a reason to hate the villain. You know, there has to be reasons to hate the villain.
That's kind of me right now when it comes to like, villains. You got to give me a reason to hate you.
Exactly.
It's just like a WWE superstar there, or any wrestler that's a heel. You got to make me hate you in order to make it good.
Well, it's like you and I talked about. We're talking about like The Miz, the perfect heel.
Pretty much.
Because there's like 10. I love The Miz, but I also hate him.
Yeah.
But he's so perfect because you get to hate him, but you respect him for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. And that's what, we need something like Damien. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said, we need to hate him. We have to have a reason for why Adonis is going to fight him.
Yeah.
To pretty much shut him up, to knock him down.
And you want to have a reason to root for this person. You want to have a reason to root for Creed. And I'll say this, the actor who plays Damien, same actor that plays Kane the Conqueror, does a phenomenal job in both movies on just absolutely wanting to hate these motherfuckers. Absolutely. I have much respect for it, because he seems like a genuinely nice guy. But he does it so well. And, it's kind of like, and that's the thing is I love watching actors go through different roles and be good. Now, Michael B. Jordan, I'm going to say, is a great actor. But Creed,
he's definitely gotten that push recently.
But Creed and Killmonger, to me, slightly different on motives and everything like that, but they're very similar. Very similar.
It's probably because that's actually how he excels at, is that role.
Yeah.
Because if you ever notice that with some guys, or even like action guys in general, they always act the same almost in every movie.
Exactly. And
You know, like I'll say, if like for instance, like Will Smith. You know, yes, he's in action movies, but what does he do in every action movie? He makes fun of funny moments. He says funny things instead of being like totally serious.
yeah.
Like I think he's only a few handful of movies where he's actually like somewhat serious, but all the other ones, you know, that's his thing. He's got to be comical in it.
Yeah, and some of the ones he's actually more serious in, that's
Yeah.
a good point, are not actually
Yeah.
good movies.
Yeah, and then you take somebody like Jason Statham, where he's just really like stone cold killer. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Anyway.
and that's the thing though, it's like with Michael B. Jordan and him, very similar roles in both the roles that I know them the most in. They do very well in because again, there's slightly different tones between the two, but they make it the same, and it's just good for the movies. A person that actually did two different people that, talking about people who did two different movies and excelled in and completely different is Josh Brolin as Thanos and Cable.
Yeah,
Completely different.
completely different.
Completely different. And still love him.
You have to have that versatility as an actor.
Yeah.
You have to. All right, I have 3 questions for you.
Yeah.
First one. What is your overall rating that is out of 1 out of 10?
So we're doing the 0.5, not the point anything else.
Yes, you can do a 0.5.
I am gonna do. I'm gonna do 8.5 for the movie.
Okay.
8.5 out of 10. Because I think it was because, and this is just me, and it could be anybody else. You know, anyone else can be everything different, obviously. Because it was missing the Rocky thing. It was missing it was missing what these movies were always, and it's not just having Rocky, but it's that Rocky mentality.
Agreed.
You know, the thing about these movies and all the movies was that the main person, so Rocky or Creed, were always underdogs. And yeah, they said like, oh, he's the underdog in this fight against Damien. It never really felt like it.
Yeah.
It just felt like, well, he's gonna get.
Because I was always saying with Rocky, even though when he was champion, he still had that thing where his back was more against the wall than his opponent.
And that was the thing too, is it kind of because of the route that he went, and especially like because he's been retired for fighting, and he's gonna go back in it. You know, it kind of felt like Rocky Balboa. I'm retired, but now I'm gonna go into this fight.
Yeah, I want to do this one more fight.
You know, and everything like that. So it felt more like Rocky Balboa, which I didn't like that movie. And obviously Creed won and Balboa lost. But in my mind, it was like you lost that really true underdog story feel, and you know. You did so well on everything. You did well on the betrayal, leading up to it, but you never felt that true underdog story that Rocky movies and Creed movies were always about.
Right.
And so I'm going to say 8.5 because it was a great movie. I'd still recommend it for anybody to go see. But it doesn't have that same underdog mentality. So it does, because I love Creed 2 and 1. I mean, I finished Creed 2. Love that movie. Creed 1 is amazing.
Yes.
Creed 1.
We just watched it here. You know,
Creed 1 over all the movies right now is probably the best, one of the best Rocky movies as well.
Okay.
It's so good.
Awesome. All right, next question. Do we need a Creed 4? Or do we just leave it at 3 and call it good?
Because the problem is again with Rocky.
That's what I'm. Because you know how we start getting on these things lately,
Yeah.
where we get to a certain point and it's like, okay, this is actually a good point to stop it, but then all of a sudden, like 5 years from now, it's all of a sudden we have to have this next one.
Yeah, you gotta stop because again,
and that's why I'm asking: did this third Creed 3 that pretty much set it to where Adonis done all you could right now? That's
no,
it.
It didn't. It kind of set up for a future. Because he's the champion now. He's back into boxing. He's champion again.
Well, he could always vacate it.
He could, but they never hinted at that. They kind of hinted at like, oh, we're going to go to the next step. And that's the thing. And so that's a good point. So, and we've talked about this before too. We'll start with Rocky. Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4, great movies. Stop. 4 was a great ending. When he beat Ivan Drago, call it a day. Superman movies, the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. 1 and 2, amazing. 3 and 4, terrible. God. How many fucking, Halloween movies did we have? Like 8 goddamn Halloween movies? All bad. End it. You know, first one was amazing. You know, you can take Halloween 2.
We gotta reboot them. You know.
All we talked about this in the Scream movies. All these damn sequels need to stop. We don't need you ruin the classicness.
Yeah.
So for Creed, you're great. All three of your movies are great. Stop while you can, because again, what more can you do?
Yes.
What more can you do?
That's why I'm saying do it. That's why I'm asking that.
You know,
exactly is what more can Adonis do in these movies right now at this
exactly.
point? Okay.
You know, and we're getting to that point too. Like we kind of even talked about it. You know, with Star Wars.
Well, let's even be fair. Boxing careers are not long.
No.
It's like what, 3 to 4 years, and then
you can make it last longer.
You can make it. Well, yeah, I guess depending on how your career goes, but it is not a very long career.
No. But so, like, taking like movie franchise that we've talked about run its course, maybe see different direction or just end it. We talked about Star Wars. There's so much you can do with Star Wars, so end the goddamn Skywalker saga shit.
That is done. That is done now.
No, it needs. It should have been done after 6. They should not have done 7, 8, 9. As great as those movies were, they should have not done those, because when you start doing more, you ruin the legacy.
We'll have to talk about that, because we're going to talk about that someday too. That whole Skywalker thing, because I actually have something I want to bring up about that, so I want to save that for later.
Okay. But I will say this: the MCU eventually will need to learn to stop some point.
Exactly.
Because you have to stop. You are gonna run out of fucking things, and you're gonna be the new X-Men, where you did so many damn X-Men movies and you killed it. You absolutely, oh my god!
Especially if they even get to the part where all of a sudden, Tony Stark's been revived, or Natalia's been, all of a sudden you start reviving the old one because they find some fucking time stone, they can go back and pull them out.
Well, I mean, we are getting Secret Wars, which is a good chance that's gonna happen.
I know, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. In order to like save it, because if some movies start doing not so good, they're gonna try to bring these guys back again. And, I just want, I'm sorry, stuff like that. If Rocky, is dead, and died, okay, done. Okay, did his thing. He had his time. It's Creed's time. That's what I'm saying. Is just
I wish the way I would have ended Creed is not for the World Heavyweight Championship, but just a fight. And because it's one thing to lose the title, but it's another to be a champion and lose a match, because then your pride has been. I wish it would have been more of a non-title fight, and him still beat Damien, because it's like, understand that I'm still
him beat Damien, and then all of a sudden the next challenger that comes up to Damien then beats him. And
he teaches him humility. Cool, you took the championship from him, but again, if you would have said, we ain't doing it for a championship, but we're doing it for, I'm going to show you I'm better than you. That changes the person, because again, it's one thing to lose your championship, it's another to lose a fight as a champion.
Right.
And to someone that's like, I'm not going to take your title, I'm just going to prove that I can beat you. And that's just one of those things where it's like, okay, now I understand. You are who you were. Like, it could have been ended a little bit differently in my opinion, but that's just me. Because again, if you did it that way, you didn't need to set up for another movie. I think what they're going to do is they're going to do a Creed.
Okay. All right. So should end there, but we're looking at possibly a 4th movie.
Yep.
So okay, that'd be interesting to see what they tried to do with that now. That story. All right then. Just my final one. I mean, even though you kind of mentioned it there earlier, is this a Big Fat Dubs recommendation?
Yep, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. It is a movie that you should go see and everything like that. It's a very enjoyable movie. It's a great movie and everything like that.
Even if you're not into boxing, you should go see this movie, even if you're into sports.
As a sports fan, yes, because it's that mentality feel that it just gets you fired up and want to go and everything like that. As a movie person, I'd still say yes, because everything about it was still great for cinema, with some flaws. Obviously, in every movie has flaws.
Creed 3. Adonis Creed versus Thunder Lips. Old Hulk Hogan.
Fuck. No. God no. He put his stupid ass. It'll probably be something like Creed 4 and he fights the fucking Rock.
Probably. Who knows? Anyway, everybody, that is it from us. Thank you all very much for tuning in and listening to this. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you go see the movie. Let us know what you guys thought of it as well, as always. And if you enjoy the movies, and do you think there should be a fourth one? Should they continue this or just done, over with? Brian, anything you'd like to more add before we sign off?
Nope, as always, like, subscribe, punch the notification bell, and tune into the...
1, 2, 3, man.
There you go. Tune into other next videos. We're coming out with some bracket ones. Check out our previous one, a Scream 6 movie review. We'll have another one this week for Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. And tune into anything else we have going on. Again, we have a lot of stuff in the project in the works, but again, we just have to have time to like that. So we're doing everything we can. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, Kelly with the sign off.
Akami and Ahami. Sending home to mommy. Thank you guys all very much. We'll see you in the next one.